I used this paperwork to get my firearm back. Yes, I dropped these off in the floor and they got lost somehow. So.
Something, we got plenty of room. You guys just want to sit, you can sit right at the table with us right over here. Whoever, doesn't matter. You guys want to sit right at the table?
We're a little late.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, by the way, I'm Mara.
Hi. Yeah.
Nice
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hey. I'm Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, sit in the middle. Good morning.
Sounds good.
Can join us down here?
Sure, Clifford is about 5 minutes
Right.
My chief.
Oh, you need it? Oh, you're shooting today? Yes. What's so annoying that noise?
Who's right about this? Oh, the rains are blowing. Oh, I thought when you said furniture was coming.
Yeah, but it sounds like
That's
somebody's
the landlord in me. All noise comes from above.
It's actually below that.
Okay, that's it. All right. So we'll see how well the shots there.
Camera guy. Yeah.
Yes, it is about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes away.
Yeah. Bill Clifford's on his way, he should be in too. And is Kim joining us? About 2 weeks ago.
First day of school.
Yeah.
What?
Traffic.
It's already 90 degrees.
Yeah, I would explain the traffic this morning. Yeah, so there's a lot more traffic than that.
Remember, I'm wearing a skirt, I don't want to see any big legs. Especially with a camera in front of me. Okay, there.
The trials guys don't ever have to worry.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're a little bit late in starting, waiting for Commissioner Clifford, but since we have the quorum, why don't we start the meeting? Kim, notices were posted. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting? Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have members of the public here. Any public comments to be made today?
Introduce yourself.
Yes.
My name's Rob. Don't worry about the camera. I just like to document my life and anything I do. And I'm a concerned person that lives here in Manchester. And I'm just here to see what you guys talk about and, you know, be a part of the community and whatnot. That's why I'm here.
Welcome.
My name is Anne. I'm just a member of the community and a student.
Eric Sawyer, Montgomery County, employee of everything. Some people suggested I might put my name in that, make sure I see what's going on.
Sir, would you like to introduce
Yes.
yourself?
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Andrew. Same for him. Record.
Great. Thank you for coming today. Why don't we move right on to divisional reports? Why don't we start at the end of the table with Lieutenant Tessie?
Okay, for legal division, not too much to report this month, relatively business as usual. The sex offender compliance unit continues to remain pretty busy. They registered 194 offenders this month. We're continuing to maintain a registry of about 500 offenders in our community. That seems to be relatively consistent. There were 3 non-compliant people, and warrants have been subsequently issued for their arrest. Officer Caldwell has also been working with a couple of members of the community to develop some training programs to inform people about the sex offender compliance unit, what they do, and some of the regulations that are required by sex offenders to meet. In terms of our records division and our court duties, we continue to have a very busy schedule in the court. We have been trying to be more efficient with our pretrial conferences. We've had our 127th pretrial conference this month, and that has helped us to reduce the number of cases that are moving forward to trial, which reduces the workload and helps the court to be more efficient. In addition, on September 19th, the Chief and I are going to be attending a statewide conference. It involves a number of stakeholders who have some concerns or issues with the court system. It may include some members of the Supreme Court as well, and we're attending that on the 19th to participate in that program as well. And that's about it.
Any questions, comments?
I have Lieutenant, last month you had mentioned that the record staff were, all the record staff were being cross-trained.
Yes.
Has that been completed, or is that still in?
That's still very much a work in progress, but we are definitely seeing progress, and people are being, especially in the summer months, we're finding that it's kind of a necessity at that point because people are out taking a vacation or whatever, and people are stepping in and performing their job functions. So yes, it continues to develop and evolve, but we are seeing a lot of progress in that area, and it's definitely helping us to be more efficient.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Captain Capano?
Morning. From Administrative Division, I'll start with training. We have 14 recruits that are just wrapping up their final week of training with us. Monday the 8th, they head off to the full-time police academy. And then September 22nd, we'll be bringing in 4 new certified recruits, and they'll be going into the in-house academy. So training's been very busy. Currently, we're taking on the use of force training, which is what you hear down below us. And we are getting ready to put on a sergeant's test and also a new recruit test coming up towards the end of the year. So we're still working on the logistics of both of those. Other than that, training's going very well, but as stated, and you can see they're very busy down there. Communications Division, we're in the process of filling the 2 vacant positions. One of them is the background is complete on that, and they will be starting hopefully within the next couple weeks. The other one, we have them in the background process right now. So once those 2 dispatch spots are filled, we'll be a full complement for our dispatching staff, which will be helpful for us. As far as our facilities go, just dealing with everyday issues with the building here and here, but overall, no major problems. We switched over, we're fully Aramark custodians now, which have been doing an outstanding job. And then crime stats, they're doing their typical mapping and plotting of crimes, their hotspot meetings, and then the urban violence work group that they've been working on with the detectives division. We've had a meeting on that. We had to cancel last month's, but there'll be a new meeting coming up this month. And that's a work in progress as well. They're going to be tweaking that as we go along, but so far we've had good input from other agencies being involved in that. Other than that, that's pretty much what's going on in admin.
One thing to add to the training, we're doing training in conjunction with National. When is it, Kyle?
September 4th.
Is that tomorrow?
Yep, it's
Tomorrow, effective interaction with youth, and that's through the disproportionate minority contact. So we're having, what we want to do is everybody that starts, we get them the training, and the whole plan is to get everybody the training within the building. So we have trainers that we work together. We have our own trainer, and National's coming as well, aside from Macho from National.
Any questions, comments? Moving ahead, Captain Flanagan.
Captain Flanagan, Investigative Division. An update from last month's discussion. I know we had talked about the APHIS equipment that's now here at the PD. That is fully up and running at this point. We had a number of civilian personnel go through training to learn how to input prints into the system, which should make it a more efficient process. So that training has been completed by Charlie Walsh, a former FBI agent who is partly representative of the company that we purchased the equipment from, and he's been very helpful with the support. So that's a positive step. From an investigative standpoint, in the detective division, the AGs have authorized us to move forward with homicide warrants for Matthew Dion, if you recall the double homicide over on Mooresville Road. Another positive step in that investigation. Over the past month, we've handled a number of situations stemming from what we believe to be a problem address at 287, 289 Lowell Street, where there's been a series of shootings, stabbings, very serious crimes. So we'll be looking to do whatever we can as far as identifying that as a problem address, and hopefully maybe the subject for that the NET team to go out and do some work on. The juvenile unit, they're busy with a number of ongoing abuse and sexual abuse cases involving juvenile victims. Most notably, they're working currently on a 6-year-old who was assaulted by his father, as well as 2 sexual assault cases involving 2 preteens, and the alleged perpetrator in that case is the grandfather. The SROs have returned to school, and for all intents and purposes, the morning got started without a hitch. We had a lot of personnel out paying attention to the areas. We handed out flyers. so that people will have a direct contact number for their particular SRO. So hopefully things will continue to move in that direction. The computer crimes unit is very busy with a lot of computer forensics on cases associated with their field. The domestic violence unit is, I don't believe I had any information on this last month, but currently they're working on an elder abuse case. They've done a great job in pushing a particular guardian to take protective measures to protect this elderly woman against the abuses of what we believe to be from the son. But they've done a great job in the case to this point, and you know, they're busy as well. So that's it from the investigative division.
For the first day of school today, we had the command staff at each high school, each junior high school, passing out the phone numbers, some phone numbers for all the school resource officers. So we had pretty good interaction with students and parents. And, we also had traffic, Central High School. It's been a safety issue on Beach Street when parents drop off kids. So we wanted to get it right from the start to let people know you can't drop off kids there. It's a safety for them as well as for the kids as well as themselves stopping it. And we'll just we will get a briefing on how the first day of school went from school resource officers in a couple days.
Do you anticipate any problems in the park near Central Lake?
Well, what we're doing is we are going to try to educate the public on it, and hopefully during school events it won't be an issue. As you know, Memorial has a field where they can practice, where people can go and practice, the kids. West High School has a field, but unfortunately Beach Street, they need to use that park for band practice, and there has been some crime issues, and there has been some issues with drug abuse and things like that. So we'll be monitoring the situation. We understand what we have to do is balance. Everybody has the right to use the park. The park's for everybody.
And just two comments. Complicate matters in Central this morning. I was coming back from CMC, and there was a major pipe repair at the corner of Amherst and Beach Street.
I don't know if it was an emergency, but they scheduled it at that time. Two officers at the scene are doing their best to make sure parents can get through.
Tough for the bus to get through, for the school bus to get through.
Yeah.
And quick question, Chief, we're going to be ramping up the school visits this fall. They should be starting next month, perhaps.
Cops and kids, what we'll do is we'll do half the, we have 13 elementary schools, I believe, so we'll do half the elementary schools during fall, during the good weather, so the kids can come out without being cold. And then we'll have them look at all our apparatus, have the K9 demonstration, and give out some handouts. And then we'll do, when the warm weather returns, we'll do another half in the spring. Kids look forward to it. Today I'm at the school, and kid, my younger brother says, hey, I saw you at the school last year. So kids, it's 5 years in a row we can have, what is it, 6 years in kindergarten, great. 6 years in a row we can have positive interaction with the kids.
Good program.
Question for Captain Flanagan. Captain Flanagan, you reported last month that the burglary numbers for July this year were down significantly from July of last year. Has that same positive or downward trend continued in August?
It has. It has. And what I would suggest to you is that last year's initiative resulted in the arrest of a lot of prolific burglars who are currently incarcerated. And so I would have to say that success is manifesting itself in some of these lower numbers. So we're greatly encouraged by that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is the numbers. We're done with. We have 2/3 of the year is done now. It's September, October, November, December left, and we're optimistic about the crime rate in the city. Part 1 crimes, those are all Part 1 crimes listed. And as you can see, unfortunately, homicides are the same as last year. We're at 0%. We don't want any of these crimes in our city. Forcible rape is down. Robbery is down. Everything is down except auto thefts and aggravated assaults. Year to date, we've had 236. Last year we had 231. So it's a number that went up slightly, but we're very enthused about the trend. We got to keep going though. We want to. These numbers, to me, still are too high. Robberies, burglaries. We want to continue to try to lower these.
All right. Lieutenant Susan.
Morning. From the Community Policing Division, we obviously started off the school year, and with that, we had a change in the downtown initiative. As you know, early this spring, we kicked off a pretty extensive downtown initiative between parks and Elm Street. Officers were temporarily assigned from divisions to that particular post. It was very successful. We had a presence from command staff, as well as walking officers, officers of patrol and flight, motor officers from traffic. So it was very well received by the public and the businesses. At the end of the start of the school year, at the end of the summer, we've shifted some of the manpower back to the divisions, but we are still certainly keeping that on the radar. So and still getting a lot of positive response. As you know, homeless population has been an issue throughout the city, continues to be. We're always monitoring that. We had an issue over on the west side of the city where the homeless had taken camps in an area that was designated DOT property. So community police worked extensively with DOT, state police, who essentially takes care of that area over by the construction zone. We were able to successfully go down, meet with the homeless population, provide them with literature options, and we removed those camps, many of them dangerous camps in poor condition, and services were certainly provided. So that area has been taken care of, and we've already seen a decrease in the amount of crime to some of the local businesses in the area and construction crews. As you know, obviously, the spice issue was first and foremost the last couple of weeks. Community police also was tasked with looking into some of the investigation end of things. So we had a lot of manpower that was tied up for a short amount of time, but extensively with the investigation. We worked with the other divisions and came up with what we thought was a pretty successful initiative to at least take care of the problem and work in the future to make sure it doesn't happen again. On the heels of the Spice investigation, obviously the Bronstein Park issue surfaced. These parks have obviously been a concern for the department. We've taken great steps to make sure that people are safe in and around the parks. As a result, the initiative to exclusively use the parks during the daytime for school use evolved, and that's a work in progress, but all our personnel are continuing to work with the population in and around the parks to make sure they're educated. So that's a work in progress. Following that, we had the Lock It or Lose It campaign, which is continuing. The press is aware of it. We've now met with the city, and the city has allowed us to erect some of those signs in the areas that are causing some problems. We're seeing a lot of thefts from vehicles. So we're hoping that that's going to help bring about awareness to the area and the residents.
We got a good vote last night. We had 14 Aldermen voted for it and 1 against it. The purpose of the signs is that we had roughly 600 thefts from automobiles that are in those total theft numbers this year to date, and roughly half of those are from people not walking into cars. What we're finding are people are either riding bikes or they're canvassing neighborhoods. They're just focusing on cars that are unlocked. Once they get in the cars, they can rifle through the glove compartment. They can try to open the trunk with the trunk released. And so what we want to do is just remind people, just that simple act of locking your door to save you a lot of money and the stolen items and stop them from being a victim. So that is why, that's the purpose of the program. These signs, we don't want to keep them up permanently in the neighborhoods. That's what we talked about. We're going to use our crime analysis, the stats, and we're going to put them where these thefts are occurring. And hopefully that'll just remind people, educate them, lock your door, you can be a victim.
Has there been any pattern for auto thefts so far? In particular, like concentration?
Yeah, we looked at, there's been, they hit different neighborhoods for a while. We were apartment complexes and things like that, but they're going to...
Sort of rolling?
Yeah, they go into neighborhoods. They just go into neighborhoods, and it could be kids, it could be people looking for money for drugs, so there's, the demographics are typically younger people.
Lieutenant, it was reported last month that there was ongoing lunch in the park series that was scheduled to go throughout the summer. Is that still happening? Or is it?
That's concluded. We think it was certainly some success with that. Early on, it seemed to be well received by the business downtown. I think obviously as the summer progressed, we saw some changes. We had to make some changes with some of the tables that were put down there. Some of the homeless population was still trying to gather in certain areas and move some of that. So our officers continue to take enforcement efforts, but I think that's always well received, I think, by the businesses, especially when they see police officers in the park and with interacting with everybody. So I don't know. Well.
Jim, I don't know if you're going to talk about the initiative that came out of your division from Officer Day, the cognitive comment.
That was coming up. Just a couple other things to finish up real quick. We have a citizen survey that's on the department website. We've done this 2 years ago. Obviously, something that can show us ways to improve and another outlet for citizens to call in and to write in and another way to interact with the public. That has begun in earnest, and it's also on two social media sites. So we've already been receiving some favorable response from the public. So we're happy about that, and hope that's going to take off. Fall senior walks have been planned. Citizen Police Academy, Youth Leadership Academy. Those are all events that are coming up rather quickly in the fall. We're excited about that. Our personnel has been working on that, and as the chief mentioned. Last but not least, we started Coffee with a Cop, which everyone was there. It was good to see you, and I think that was well received by the public as well. It was a small group of people, but I think it worked out quick. A lot of people were surprised to see a group of officers for a couple of hours, handing out food and coffee and just talking with people when they felt comfortable and at ease in a controlled environment. So it was really. It was good. We're going to continue that. One of the chief's requests is that we start a program like this, we continue it and don't let off on the gas. And we're hoping with such a good response, the businesses are all starting to say, hey, you can come over here and you can do it at our place or this place. So we're going to try to spread this out through the city. Just another way to add on to the some of the efforts that we've done out there. I think it's a good thing. And that's it.
Quick question. We haven't talked about this in a while. How are the police explorers doing? Still active?
They're not as active as they have been, but it's still a group in progress. In fact, Paul Rondo has a meeting either tonight or tomorrow that they have to check the agenda for the explorers, or at least with regard to the explorers. So I don't have any of that specific information, how things went over the summer. I don't know when their last meeting was, but I know they're still active.
Yeah, we still have a good group. We have Sergeant Byron is transitioning out. He's done a great job. So we are now going to have other people do it. There's going to be 2 or 3 people do it. And that's actually, a lot of people don't know it, that's actually a part of the Scouts.
Boy Scouts.
So, but we have both male and female as a good program.
And PAL is ramping up for the fall.
PAL's hours have changed already. We'll have activity this afternoon after school. Morning hours have changed, so yeah, things are looking good over there.
Any other questions?
Are you planning on keeping a presence at the park? I think
call away, but just the people that are there to do something else, because, I see the people, they're happy just hanging out in here.
No, we got good feedback on it. We had 2 school resource officers. Typically when a school resource officer, school ends, we put them all out on patrol, we put them back in the juvenile division to help catch up and things. We put Andre, you saw Andre and Shannon, they were down there all summer. Everybody from every demographic that was hanging around the parks in downtown, we got positive feedback from. Unfortunately, they have to go back to school. So what we're going to do is we still have community police in the mounted unit, that is their area. They're going to be walking as well as on there, and we have a bike unit in patrol that is going to also be there. They're in charge of the parks downtown. During lunch hour, in busy times, we're going to have more traffic enforcement down there to make it safe for pedestrians. But we're going to continue, but it's not going to be, we just couldn't sustain the same level.
Any other questions? Captain Hawkins.
Morning. Just not off in patrol, we got through our peak vacation period, had some more time, but we didn't, I don't think we were too deep in that. We lost some people to retirements, and I think we'll probably lose a few more, but we're in the hiring process now, so hopefully we'll be at full complement sometime in December. So canines, it just seems as every time we get to full complement, we have some issues. One canine retired this month. The dog had a degenerative back nerve injury, so that eventually he won't be able to walk. He's at home. I don't know how much longer he has, but he'll spend his last days with his owners or with the handler, Scott Adita. And then I'm anticipating that Joe Ryan's going to be retiring his dog around the first of the year. So we'll have 2 openings to fill for next year. Let's see, the honor guard. We haven't really ever talked about this, but we kind of totally revamped the unit. We had gotten down to about 7 members, and it's they do a lot of ceremonial stuff for us, and it's all volunteer. We added 6 people to bring it up to 13. We're going to add 3 more to the unit to bring it up to 16. And the hope is that we'll spread out the amount of ceremonies they do to make it less burdensome on them. And but anyway, so we'll, that I'm anticipating that's gonna, you're gonna see a lot more of the honor guard at ceremonies to present the colors and represent the department. And then, traffic obviously has been very busy with accidents and investigations. Other than that, it's pretty much business as usual for us.
Fortunately, we had a tragic accident. Young kid over on the west side. There was an accident. He got stuck under the car. He had to be brought to Boston, and so he was significantly injured. So we felt bad about that. Of course, we're all hoping for the best, but we don't know. We haven't got an update on the child's condition. So,
I have one question. Captain Hopkins, last month it was reported that the Signal Road race had they increased the coverage, because of the Boston region. How did that turn out?
Signal went great. Yeah, it was well planned, well executed. I had about 7,000 runners, and plus everybody else who was there to watch it. Right. There's some traffic tie-ups, but the guys that did traffic did a great job, and Sergeant Vincent and Lieutenant Hurley had everything buttoned down. They did a nice job organizing and planning different routes. It's very successful. Every year we review it after it's done, and I don't think there's really too much that will be changing on it. It's well.
Thank you.
All right. Captain Fournier.
Good morning, I'm Captain Fournier, Special Enforcement Division. During the month of August, we continue to stay up on a lot of our training. The SIU qualified with all their undercover firearms. In addition to that, the SWAT team, they trained during the month at Camp Carpenter. They worked in conjunction with the K-9 team, practicing some entries and some searching techniques. And also during the month, the assistant commander of the division, Lieutenant San Clemente, attended an internal investigation school. And we also started some pre-planning meeting with the FBI and some counterparts at Malden, New Hampshire, we're trying to, we're gonna get a tabletop exercise, especially with, just before the mall starts, you know, heating up at the holiday season. And so we're getting that in motion. A lot of the operations that we've been working on continue to be ongoing. I know just from what we have for information that the pharmaceuticals, the heroin in the city continues to fuel a lot of the crime that we discussed on a monthly basis. And you know, it's a trend we continue to see rise. Obviously, I can't get into the nuts and bolts of a lot of our investigations, but we still continue to work closely with a lot of our state and federal counterparts. And one that I can touch upon was in the middle of August, we received information from the postal inspectors of suspicious packages that continue to go to an address at 411 Front Street. We did what's called a controlled delivery. But prior to doing the controlled delivery, we had one of our the canine do a drug sniff on that package, and got a positive alert for illegal drugs. So with that controlled delivery, the subject identified himself as the name on the package, took possession of it, at which time we detained him and continued with the investigation. Quantity of marijuana was located in that package, approximately 16 pounds. And then a further 10 pounds of marijuana was located in the residence. What was interesting about this particular investigation was during our time at that residence, a second package, this time delivered by FedEx, arrived. That same subject refused to give consent. We seized that package pending the execution of a search warrant, and later basically seized an additional, I believe 17 pounds for a total of 43 pounds of marijuana in those two packages. And as well as that, we seized a High Point handgun. That subject was charged appropriately with possession and with the intent to distribute marijuana throughout the city with a lot of packaging and scale type material. Once again, that's just one of the investigations we did during the month that I'm able to share with you. We have some other ones that are active at this time. We continue to just deal with the volume of and the extent of the drug sales and the drug problem within the city.
Any questions, comments? Commissioner?
Yes, Commissioner.
How is the gang activity during August?
Gang activity, like I said, with the summer months, we see them, they're not as traditional as a lot, like as Hollywood would say in terms of their markings or their colors, but they're definitely out there when I say that in terms of certain clothing that they're wearing. We definitely have an issue here with a lot of the neighborhood games, especially when we talk about the shootings we had earlier in the summer. They leveled off. There was an extensive effort by all the divisions. And I know last month we reported that we had that SWAT group going out. We had like a 4-man SWAT team that we cut down to a 2-man. But as a result of their efforts, doing some knock and talks, reaching out to them, and letting them know that we're out there, giving a strong presence. I think proof's in the pudding. We didn't have any more shootings.
So what we had with those shootings was not only was it enforcement, but what we did is we reached out to the parents. We reached out to the kids. We partnered with social service organizations such as the Salvation Army and people associated with other activities with kids. And we also started meeting. Matt Barter is spearheading this along, and Sergeant Grant was started to meet with our state partners, our federal partners, and it had an impact because we hadn't had any more shootings, but interestingly enough, two of the people involved in one of the groups just got arrested in Nashville for shooting down there. So we've had luck, we stopped the shootings, but what we want to do is step it up with the kids. There are a lot of young kids in one of these groups, and what we want to do is do some positive outreach, and also working, actually we've been knocking around an idea with Commissioner Lett. It's in its infancy, but I'd like to see some summer employment for these kids, so these kids can learn about jobs and learning a trade or whatever, and stop thinking about, hanging around. Because a lot of these kids don't have somebody to look up to. So if we could set them on the right track early, maybe we can help a few of these kids. So.
Quick question, street crime unit up at full capacity?
Well, full capacity is only 3 officers. For a city our size, we should have a lot more, but we're working towards that with hiring. Every time we make progress, we just hired 14 people. You heard, and then before that, 5 a few months before. So there's 19 people we hired, but we're already down, as you can see, that 2 more retirements, a couple of resignations. So it's almost like a training one sometimes, but our training division is doing a great job, and we're hoping to get up to 232. Currently, we're probably around 222 with the new hires. So we got a lot of work to do. We're trying to get certified as officers. We had up to 10, Carlo, was it, in the pipeline?
We had,
And then after backgrounds and everything else, we were down to 4 people that we wanted. So, but we're going to keep on going at it. So hoping by January to at least hire that many people.
Chief, you said that you had 3 members of the street crimes unit.
That's what we have in street crime, yes.
What do you think would be, how many would you want?
City lot size should be 7, so we can cover problems on all shifts with days off. We're planning on increasing to 5 once we get our complement up. As we were talking about the alderman during the budget process, we were talking about the alderman that these men and women that we hire are going to go primarily into patrol, and then we want to get a couple more people in street crime, because that is where we can have the most impact immediately on the public. So, plus we've also applied for a cops grant. So we're hoping to get word on that. You can get up to 10, but we don't anticipate getting that many.
We should know that grant late October?
Typically, this is about the time you know. And then the fiscal year, the Fed's fiscal year is in October.
Right.
So typically we find out now, you know, but we're waiting. We haven't had any word yet. Thank you.
Anything else? Assistant Chief Willard.
To go over our complement, our current complement is 221. Since our last meeting, we had 3 people resign, 1 person retired, and then we have another retirement announced for middle of this month, I believe. And then I believe another one in October. So like the chief said, we're constantly swimming against the tide. But our current complement right now is 221, so that's 11 shy of our 232. Captain Capano and I have been working with fleet maintenance. As you know, the mayor has an initiative to try to consolidate the city vehicle pool. It doesn't really affect us because we have specialized vehicles, but one of the things that has come out of our working group is that we're going to start using cars that put less mileage on a particular route, and we're going to start rotating them through the route, which is something we hadn't done before. Hey, Dennis. That's okay. It's okay, no worries. All our MDTs are in. As you know, we upgraded our MDTs, and now we're working with Info Systems to upgrade our entire communication system. That's in concert with the fire department. So we're working on that currently. And I recently attended, the chief sent me to an IACP Violence Against Women conference. It was for police executives to employ best practices as well as I guess reinvigorate their policies. I learned a lot of good stuff from that, so I'll be meeting with Captain Flanagan and the Domestic Violence Unit. We're going to review our policies and probably implement some threat assessment type ideas that I learned at the school, and I think it's going to actually modernize the way we're doing business when it comes to violence against women.
Nick's being a little modest. He was asked to speak at it, and he gave a presentation, and they were impressed with what we're doing here. We've also always had a very good unit that's statewide right now, but they were very impressed. But again, Nick came up with, heard a lot of new ideas, so we're hoping to improve our unit. So
that's it.
Any questions? Chief?
I think we covered just about everything. The only thing I would add to what Nick said is, and what I was talking about earlier about hiring police officers, we already always knew it's going to be a struggle in this fiscal year due to the fact that there's a retirement initiative that runs out in June, the end of June. So we are anticipating more retirements than usual. So that is why we're working very hard to get a list going so we can keep up with the people that are leaving. And just, if I could, I would just like to thank you for the service that you've given the city of Manchester and the help that you've given us here as a police commissioner. for the last 6 years. You've been involved in not only these meetings, but you get involved in community events, you get involved in talking to people around the building. You're well known around here because you wanted to learn what we were all about and help us. And I got to tell you, we really appreciate it. And on behalf of the city, and especially on behalf of the Manchester Police Department, I just want to thank you very much and give you this plaque.
All right, moving on, retirements and resignations, we pretty much covered that. Review of the safety committee meeting.
I wasn't present, I was traveling that day.
Well, nothing terribly new. Their use of force training seems to be really paying off. Far fewer shoulder, neck, hand injuries than we've been seeing 2 or 3 years ago. And other than that, there really wasn't anything extraordinary at that meeting. Is there a need for an executive session?
Just a short one.
All right. So before everyone leaves, I just want to thank you. This has been probably one of the most interesting, rewarding volunteer jobs I've had in 40 years. And I hope I've contributed and made some useful changes for the department, and hope to continue on as a good friend of the department. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, executive session.
That means you guys have to go. That means you guys have to go.
We have to read through the executive session?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Wow.
Rude. Shire dude.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Can we make like Mystery Science Theater?
Oh my god.
Of that?
No, you should just edit out all the talking and hear the banging noises downstairs. We're teaching new recruits how to deal with the public.
Use of force.
We're teaching new recruits how to deal with the people. It sounds like
I
they're
wish I had
moving
said
furniture.
something about the pot.
The pot?
Yeah, I wish I had said something about that.
Was it 43 pounds?
43 pounds of pot and a handgun. That sounds like a party. Not, yeah.
The noise downstairs disgusted me. I wanted to vomit. Like, how about you have a sensitivity?